Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another episode of the Nick Beasley Show. I am very happy to welcome Herb N Rodg from the Herb N Rodg Podcast on the show. And guys, Rodney is back after a long time away. We have reconciled and he is back. We're going to get into this stuff, guys. So Mike Tomlin is leaving Pittsburgh. This came as a shock to me. I did not think he was actually going to leave. I did think that they would part ways, but I didn't think it would be worded as he told the team, hey, I'm stepping down. I thought it would be the Rooney family being like, look, similar to what the team did with the Ravens and Harbaugh. I thought they'd say, hey, we're done, move on. Herb, what were your thoughts on it?
It's something we've been talking about before this year, even honestly last couple of years, that it would probably be time for Tomlin to go. The only surprise to me was like it happened so fast after the game. But other than that, your standard can't be let me get to the playoffs and lose first round and just have an above 500 season. At some point, you have to strive for better. So it just felt like he and the team had kind of reached a point where, like, look, this is the cap. Maybe we need a little bit of a reset here. And it was just a weirdly constructed team anyway. I mean, they never seemed like they were all in on offense. But no, I thought it was about time. More surprising to me was like them putting out the news that, hey, he's not going to coach anywhere in 2026. Like I understand what you told me about they have his rights, but I felt like it would still be, the man's a good coach and maybe just needs another voice somewhere else. But I'm not at all shocked that, it was time. I think it was just time.
Yeah. Rod, your thoughts when you saw this come down?
Yeah, to kind of share her sentiment, for me, it was just kind of sudden. I thought that maybe he would take some time off, talk to his family, do what he has to do, figure some things out, see how he wants to proceed with his future. But it just kind of like, okay, game's over. Let's go ahead and get out of here. So that kind of gives me the idea that maybe this is something he had, like maybe somewhere in the middle of the season, he kind of felt like, okay, this is going to be my last year, regardless of how the outcome is. And I kind of also feel like he reached his peak. Obviously they won the Super Bowl, and I don't think he ever really realized, he ever understood that maybe they weren't going to get back there again. Getting the playoffs is good. I'm a Dolphins fan, so we don't get to see the playoffs a lot. But so getting the playoffs is something good. But if you're Steelers, part of Steeler Nation, you want more. You want to see your team win Super Bowls, and I don't think they were going to do that anymore with Tomlin. So by him, speaking up and just saying it's time for me to go it was sudden, but I think at the end of the day, it's going to be good for both parties. They'll find another coach. And I guess the question now is, and I guess I don't know if we're going to talk about it later, but is what's Aaron Rodgers? Is this going to affect Aaron Rodgers' decision at all? But we'll get into that another time. So
yeah. Rodney, your thoughts when you saw it come down? Obviously, I texted you immediately. I was like, what the hell is going on?
I really did. Now, I will say I did expect something was going to happen. It just felt like the vibes was just off with Mike Tomlin and the Steelers. I just didn't think it would happen so suddenly. It wasn't even 24 hours that the decision was made that he was going to come back. So that really left me, surprised. But I knew something was coming because after 2010, when they lost to the Super Bowl to the Green Bay Packers by Aaron Rodgers, who we might talk about later, it never felt like the Steelers were never a true Super Bowl contender. They had a couple years sprinkled in where they felt like they were, contenders. But after that Super Bowl, and most importantly, probably 2016, when they lost the conference championship to the Patriots, it never felt like that team got better. It never felt like that they were, Super Bowl contenders like they were at the beginning of Tomlin's career. And ever since Big Ben retired, the offense has just been stagnant. The offense has been average, below average at best. The defense did all this work, and the offense just never improved. So I never felt that they were going to get anything done. And I'm pretty sure this is going to be said, but ever since his final playoff win, which was 2016 Divisional Round, Mike Tomlin is 0-6 in the playoffs. That's not good.
I thought it was longer than that, wasn't it?
Actually,
you said since that win.
Yeah. So, and actually, I have a stat. So it's been a decade since the Steelers last won a playoff game. 2016 divisional round. I can't remember who they beat in that round, but I know they lost to the Patriots in the championship game. But I actually have a stat that I pulled that I want to show everybody because I think this goes a long way in Tomlin walking away. He is 0-7 in the last 7 playoff appearances, and they're all by blowouts except for one.
Yeah.
So I think go ahead, Herb.
No, and I think like it's getting to the point where when we did our NFL preview and people asked about Pittsburgh, I said I think they'll lose. I think they'll win. I think they'll get into the playoffs and lose the first round. And that's like the expectation now at this point is this. I was surprised that they were even a small favorite against Houston because I was like, this is not what Pittsburgh does. What they have become now is a team that strives to be above 500 and lose the first round. Nobody legitimately thought they were a Super Bowl contender at any point during this season.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I didn't even think they were going to make the playoffs in the first place. The only reason they made the playoffs is because Baltimore suffered injuries. I mean, Lamar Jackson, he missed a few games, and if it wasn't for the injuries, Baltimore would have made the playoffs.
No, I can't go that far because Baltimore couldn't get out of their own way either.
Baltimore's
nobody wanted to win that division. That was that problem.
Their defense is what made them miss the playoffs. A lot of people want to blame the kicker for the Ravens missing the playoffs. No, the defense was the reason why they missed the playoffs.
I'd also point to offense. I don't know if we're going into that, but Derrick Henry's running wild, and then you give him 5 carries in the whole second half. Like there's another reason why Harbaugh was let go too. So I know that's off subject, but I think the Ravens have a lot of problems. True.
Yeah.
Jeff here with a stat. The defense is the highest paid in the league, and they're ranked 26th. That's a problem.
That's terrible. That's terrible.
When you're trading for Jalen Ramsey, when you've got Joey Porter Jr., you've got T.J. Watt, you've got Cam Hayward, you've got all these superstars on the defensive side of the ball, you cannot be that bad, especially when you're paying them what you're paying them.
Right.
I think it was a lot of I don't think Tomlin ever lost the locker room. I just think genuinely he was like, it's just time. It's just time.
It was time.
Yeah.
I will say that it was probably 3 years too late. 3 years too late.
Yeah. I think they did the same thing with Tomlin they did with Big Ben. They didn't, because of connection, they didn't want to let him go. And Big Ben stayed longer than he should have. Same with Tomlin, I think. But we are going to talk about it because I am very interested in you guys' thoughts. Herb, we'll start with you. Is Rodgers' career over? Is the pick 6 the last throw we'll see of Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, you combine this with the failure with the Jets as well, and there's just not a whole lot you can say. Like what team is thinking we're an aging quarterback away from winning the whole thing and wants to invest in the whole Aaron Rodgers experience? And keep in mind, it's not just the Colts tried that and with somebody knew their system, and they're a little bit further away than they think. So I have to think that I have the whole team ready, but I also have to be ready for the whole Aaron Rodgers experience. He's going to skip all of training camp, get there when he wants, not exactly endear himself to his teammates. Like, do I really want to upset myself with all that? There's not a whole lot you saw this past year. Now, granted, Pittsburgh was probably not the best place if you're thinking you're a quarterback away, because you're probably still half of an offense away too. But I think for him, this should be time. I'm not sure who would want to do what Pittsburgh did and wait the whole off season just to get him.
This comment from J-Bank, I'm just going to comment on it. By the way, thank you for watching here, but Tyler Shough is going to be just fine. I watched him live at the Senior Bowl. Under Kellen Moore, he is going to be just fine. The Saints finished off with a strong season, So
Tyler Shough. I will admit, as much as I wanted Shedeur to go to New Orleans made the right pick for picking Tyler Shough. I will say that.
Raj, for you, do you think Rodgers' career is over, or do you think we'll see him next year in a Vikings uniform? And let's just go with the Brett Favre storyline here.
I don't know if we'll see him in a Vikings uniform, but I do think we'll see him next year. Should his career be over? Yes. I've had enough myself personally. And when you look at the remaining teams that are in the playoffs, when you look at all the other teams in the playoffs, none of the teams in the playoffs right now need a quarterback. So the question is, like, where would he land up at? And I don't know. And all these other teams that he might go to next year, I don't know if any of them are playoff bound. So if that's the case, so be it. But I do think we'll see him in a different uniform next year.
Yeah. Rodney, your thoughts on Rodgers? Do you think his career is over? Do you think the pick six is his walk-off?
I'm sorry, Raj. I have to be a Debbie Downer to you and all the Aaron Rodgers fans. The pick six is definitely going to be his final pass as a not just a Pittsburgh Steeler, but as an NFL player. And for all the fans that are watching, remember Tom Brady's final pass in New England? What was it? A pick six. Aaron Rodgers, his final pass as a Steeler was a pick six. And he's 43. He doesn't move as well like he used to in his 30s. He can still throw the ball deep every now and then, just not at the same velocity that he did when he was younger, obviously, because of old age. But everybody knows that Father Time is undefeated. And you may say, well, Tom Brady played when he was 45, but Tom Brady had a great offensive line when he was in Tampa, and they didn't have a running game. So I am getting a bit off topic, but I know a lot of people want Aaron Rodgers to keep playing because he wants to probably have the Tom Brady route because he won a Super Bowl in his 40s. But I'm sorry, I saw that game, and I just knew that Aaron Rodgers just needs to hang it up. As much as I respect Aaron Rodgers, I don't want him to keep playing to ruin his legacy.
Yeah. I'm going to vote with Raj, and hear me out. Here's my game plan. Dolphins, sign Rodgers. Let's hire Harbaugh. We draft Ty Simpson.
No.
We draft Ty Simpson.
My God.
Hear me out. We draft Ty Simpson. He's under Rodgers for a year.
You lost Rod so fast.
No.
You lost Rod so fast.
I do not want that to happen. I don't. I was just.
Rod said, "I'm not even arguing. I just going no."
Hey,
Absolutely
I don't want
not.
that to actually happen. In all seriousness, I do think Rodgers will play next year. I think he'll have a. I don't know if he'll be a starter, but I think he'll have a role on a team as a veteran backup. But I also don't think he comes in and plays from day one. I think he
I
gets a
don't see
call
him
later
going
in the
somewhere
season.
backing somebody up, though. I think he
No,
wants to
not
go
at all.
somewhere.
Not at this stage.
I think he wants to go somewhere and play right away.
If Cam Newton, who's in his 30s, is not going to play on a team where he's not going to start, what makes you think that Aaron Rodgers, who's 43, is going to go to a team where he's not going to start? Because if you look at at a lot of teams, not many teams is going to need a quarterback, and for the teams that do need quarterbacks, what are they going to do? Two options. They're either going to go
a quarterback, and Pat McAfee loves Aaron Rodgers. I'm just saying.
That's a totally no. Riley Leonard is probably going to be the starting QB for the Colts next year.
I don't disagree, but I'm saying.
But the teams that need quarterbacks, two things. One, they're either going to look in the draft because you got about 3, 4, 5 good quarterback prospects that's going to be in this draft if they do declare for the draft. And two, free agency. Now in free agency, you got Mac Jones, you got Malik Willis. So they're not, cute, the quote unquote cute picks, but they're solid pickups for your team.
I also have a Rodgers stat I want to pull here, guys. That when I saw it, I fact check it because it shocked me, and it is real. Aaron Rodgers has played 55 games since the start of 2022. He has topped 300 passing yards once over that span. I think that stat speaks volumes as to he's gone.
What was that? 2 years with the Jets and then one with Pittsburgh?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah, 2023, he got hurt in the first game against Buffalo.
Oh, yeah.
2024, it wasn't good, even when you had Devontae Adams and Garrett Wilson as your receivers, and then Breece Hall as your running back. And 2025, it didn't look good.
Yeah, it just wasn't a good look. It wasn't a good situation. It was not a good situation.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to plug and play, which is what Pittsburgh's done all since Ben Roethlisberger's retired, and it just hasn't worked out. Honestly, Tomlin being gone sets them up perfectly next year for the draft class of quarterbacks because they'll probably suck, and then they can draft a franchise quarterback early.
Now they're not. Now in this draft, they're not going to be high enough to get Dante Moore.
What
or
selection do they have in the first round?
So
maybe like the 20 something.
So here's the quarterbacks that they could draft in the 20s if they want to draft a quarterback. If they think that Will Howard is not the guy, so you got Ty Simpson out of Alabama. You got
Ty's going higher.
You got Garrett Nussmeier that's going to be in this draft. And then, depending on what happens with his eligibility with Ole Miss, Trinidad Chambliss might be in this draft as well.
Didn't they already announce that he got it his 6th year?
No,
I thought they said he didn't. He's going to sue.
Mississippi court is fighting it.
Okay.
Now, if he doesn't get it, he's probably going to declare for the draft.
I just want to point this out. It was not Omar Khan who drafted Kenny Pickett. It was the other GM. Omar Khan is new. He just started. This is like his first year with the Steelers. Because they were doing things that they've never done before. So that's the thing. Omar Khan did not draft Kenny Pickett. I just want to point that out.
And before we go back to the next subject, I just want to give you a funny point. Since he mentioned Kenny Pickett, that 2022 draft of quarterbacks, guess who was the best quarterback in that draft? The very last quarterback that was drafted, Brock Purdy. What does that tell you about scouting?
Nobody here is saying that Kenny Pickett was an all-star. I was just saying, hey, it wasn't Omar Khan that made the draft pick. It was a different one. It was the other GM. It wasn't Omar.
They got the wrong quarterback.
Everybody hates Omar. Omar's a good GM. He just signed a bunch of old players.
He got the
Not
wrong
his fault they
quarterback.
didn't pan out.
I'll tell you that. They got the wrong quarterback and Kenny Pickett and could have maybe drafted Brock Purdy. Maybe they could have been something. Maybe.
Well, let's go to the next subject. NFL wildcard fiasco. We had the Bills and Josh Allen. Look, I hate to say it because I'm a Dolphins fan. I want to see Josh Allen win. I really do. That guy is he's a great. I'd rather have him on the Dolphins than Tua fumble the ball all over the field.
That's true. Yeah, but since he's
I agree. Yeah, I'd
rather have that. Yeah, I could agree on that.
So I like Josh, and I don't want to see the Bills win. I want to see Josh win. Now, if he wants to do it with the Bills, not mine. But if he wants to, come down to South Beach, I'm sure his wife would love it down there, right? He's about to have a kid. What better place to raise your kid than Miami? I mean, come on.
I'm sorry. As much as Miami might be a good place, he's going to want to win it for Buffalo because he wants to be that first quarterback to bring a Lombardi trophy.
Rodney, I didn't ask you. I didn't need your opinion. I didn't ask for it. But anyway, let's move on to the games. NFL wildcard fiasco. Bills, Jags. Herb, did you watch this game? And if you did, what were your thoughts on that game-winning drive by Josh where he literally carried the team on his back? And then the Trevor Lawrence interception there at the end of the game. What were your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, the Trevor Lawrence interception kind of made me laugh because, it was so anticlimactic. It was that game was pretty low scoring, I think, until the fourth. And then it's like the offenses just kind of put everything together. And what was it like this last 5 or 6 games, like no turnovers or whatever for Trevor Lawrence? And everybody's like, has he put it together? And I'm just sitting here watching this game thinking, like, is it coming? Did he make it all the way through? And then he just had to revert back to form and give us something. So for the Jags, I guess you look at this season as a success. But when you finally get over the hump and win the division and you can outlast the Texans, this is not how you want your home game to win. Defense played well enough to win you that game for most of the game. And then all of a sudden, that was like what we call it a Heisman moment if it was college. And it just kind of fell flat. You only need a field goal. So we're not asking for you to drive the length of the field with a great kicker who, by the way, somehow still missed a kick. He can set records, I guess, but can't kick. What was it, a 50-yard or whatever that he missed early in that game?
And excuse me, Herb. Nick, you pointed that out. Nick, you pointed that out that field goal was going to be a turning point in that game.
I said when he missed it, it will either be a 4-point win for the Jags or a 3-point loss for the Jags. Because that kick changed everything. Because when Buffalo came out and scored and made it 13-10 or something like that, it would have been a tied ball game. Or no. That Jags scored, made it 13-10. It would have been a tied ball game if he made the kick at the end of the half.
It would have been 13-13 going into halftime.
Yeah. But, Herb, do you want to finish your statement there? About
it was just a wild game. It was 23 points going into the fourth. They scored 28 points in the fourth quarter. But you would have liked to see Lawrence rise to the occasion in that one, especially against the Bills defense, which hadn't been great, most of the season. But no, hats off to, and they made a great point on the broadcast. They were like, look, most of the guys that he goes up against, Josh Allen goes up against, are gone. Kansas City's out, Baltimore's out. If there ever was a time, it's now. I just don't know that he can be superhuman for this many games with no wide receivers, that you can count on.
And by the way, the Bills lost another wide receiver in practice today to a torn ACL. So it's like they're down. They're literally relying on Keon Coleman, who may or may not get suspended by the time the Broncos play them.
Yeah.
And I say that jokingly, but I'm being serious because he got suspended twice already this season by the team for sleeping in meetings or being late to meetings or something stupid. Yeah. But Raj, for you, did you watch this game and what did you think of it?
I watched about 75% of this game. I just felt like going into the game, all the momentum was on Jacksonville's side. They had home field. They had a really, really good year. They were playing well the past few weeks. This was their year to make a decent little playoff run. I didn't think they're going to, make it to the Super Bowl, but maybe win 2 playoff games. And then as I was watching the game, I started to realize that somewhere in this game, Josh Allen is going to have his moment and bring his team back and win. And that's exactly what happened. And I guess both to you and Herb's point earlier, Josh Allen can only do so much. And the real question for the Buffalo Bills is how long is this going to go on before he gets maybe some more help or he eventually leaves and goes somewhere else? I know that Rodney said he wants, Josh Allen to stay in Buffalo, win the Lombardi Trophy. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll be gone. I think something else is going to happen in the future, and he won't be in there to do that. But, luck is on Buffalo's side. I don't know how much farther they're going to make it in the playoffs. Maybe they have another win in them, but I think that's about it for Buffalo.
I don't think they beat Denver. That defense is too good.
Mm-hmm.
They've got one of the best pass rushes in the NFL. I just don't see them beating Denver in Denver. No, I just don't see it. Rodney, for you, I know you watched the game. What did you think of the game? And obviously, you can say Josh Allen is better than Lamar now. You can say that.
Lamar Jackson's still my favorite quarterback. I can never put anyone over Lamar Jackson, but I
respect the hustle.
But to go back to that game, my favorite play of that game obviously was the 4th and 1 where Josh Allen just said, "I'm not going to be denied," and he literally carried that team to the 1-yard line to score basically the game-winning touchdown. And the one thing that Buffalo needs to do to potentially win this game in Denver is obviously stop the run, because even though Jacksonville lost, they still had over 100 rushing yards on the Buffalo Bills, because Buffalo going into this game, they had arguably the worst rush defense in the entire regular season. So if Buffalo is going to have a chance to win this game against Denver, they need to stop the run, contain Bo Nix, one of your favorite QBs, and Josh Allen needs to limit the mistakes. If he can limit the mistakes against one of the top defenses in the league, you got a good pass rush, you got a good secondary led by reigning defensive player of the year and Patrick Surtain II. As long as you can do those three things, in my opinion, you can make this game competitive and potentially beat the Broncos at Denver.
Yeah, for me, watching this game, I didn't care who won. I really didn't. Obviously, Dolphins are out of it, and they're out of it by week 5 every year anyway, so it doesn't matter to me. But hopefully next year's better. We'll get a quarterback in there and a new head coach, although I thought McDaniel should have gotten a shot to stay a year because he inherited Tua. He didn't draft Tua, so thought he deserved a chance to develop Quinn Ewers, but whatever. I guess he'll be the OC.
We'll see what happens.
He'll probably be the OC for either whoever Saleh takes the job from or Dan Campbell's going to hire him in Detroit. That's what's going to happen here, unfortunately. But back to the game. I do like Josh Allen, not just as a player, but as a person. He seems like a very nice guy. I hate it for Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the best season in Jacksonville football in the regular season. And by the way, I want to say this. Credit to the lady in the press conference who made a point to tell Liam Cohen, good job.
He did a great job.
Keep your head up. Yep.
And to all the people in the media that crapped on her, I get the opportunity to go interview players at the Senior Bowl every year, and I'm grateful for that. I also make a point to, after I interview them, find them, shake their hand, and thank them. Because they don't want to do the media stuff at all, regardless of whether they're tired or not. And after a game, after a loss like that, you really, if you're a coach or a player, you don't want to be bombarded with, why didn't this play work? Why didn't that play work? So credit to her. I'm not surprised the Bills won because they have the number 1 pass defense in the NFL, which I was surprised by when I saw the stat, but they are the number 1 pass defense. I was surprised Trevor threw the interception. It felt like it was a forced throw to Jacoby because it felt like Joey Bosa was getting pressure on him, and he just felt like he had to get the ball out. If you watch the play back, his feet aren't set. He's kind of just hopping around the pocket, and he chunks it. And, Tre'Davious White tip ball, and then Cole Bishop with the pick. So credit to the Bills for making the play. That's something I never thought I'd see the Bills defense do, was make a play for Josh Allen because they've never done it before. But, I mean, that game was entertaining. It was a fun way to start Wild Card Weekend. The next game we're going to talk about, Packers-Bears. The Packers blowing the 21-3 lead at half. Herb, what were your thoughts on it?
I mean, we were doing our show live, and Bama basketball had just ended, and we look up, and I think we'd already texted or something, Raj, maybe. We had made the decision we're not sticking around for the end of the NFL game. That's how much we thought this game was over. And it's Nick, I think you had some good points after this game and some good articles you need to go check out. But about how Green Bay just thought they had enough, offense and kind of went into a shell. And, I mean, we've seen enough comebacks, especially by Chicago this year. Chicago took, the first half of every game off. So they were used to playing from behind. And you should already know as your rival. Because when the last game they lost to them, it was a dramatic ending too as well, right? So you should know, especially on the road, you got to go step on their throat. You got to knock them out. Yeah. And I just feel like watching the whole second half of that game, it was just waiting for the Bears to take it. Now, to their credit, what was it? 21. It was all in the fourth quarter, and it was all 2 minutes and under touchdown. So they weren't just, picking away at them. They went after it. But if you're Green Bay, that's just not a lead you can blow. I don't want to take away from credit for Chicago, but Green Bay, you can't stop playing when you get a lead like that, especially offensive. And then, I feel like they have some questions to answer. But, man, kudos to Chicago. That's a huge win for that city, a huge comeback. And Caleb Williams has been under fire all year.
That's what I was about to say.
Just have to shut some people up for a minute. So
that's what I was about to say.
A fun game to watch.
Yeah, no, I agree. Raj, for you, watching this game. What did you think? Obviously, I was the same as y'all. When it was halftime, I texted Rodney. I was like, I think I'm going to go watch Herb N Rodg's show and just turn the game off. And then I was like, actually, it's Chicago. There's always a chance something crazy happens. I'm just going to watch it. I'll pull you guys up on my phone, and that's what I did.
Yeah, I just think it was a huge statement win for Caleb Williams in his second year. Obviously, on the other side, Jordan Love had a good game, had about 4 touchdowns, threw for a nice little amount of yards. But I guess to Herb's point, when you're up 21-3 in the playoffs like this, you don't get a lot of opportunities like this. When it's 21-3, you really want to make it 28-3, 35-10, so forth and so on. You don't want to let off the gas at all. I think the Packers did that to a certain extent, and the Bears just took advantage of it. Again, to my earlier point, I just think it was huge for Caleb Williams. This is something that he needed in his career. Even though he had a really, really good season, he's still going to have his doubters out there, especially in Chicago. Some people aren't going to like him. Some people aren't going to say this isn't the guy. Maybe we need to draft somebody else up in the future. He proved that he could be their future star quarterback. With that being said, are they going to win the Super Bowl this year? Probably not, but they have something to work with. At least they can build off him in these next few drafts and build some more pieces around him, get some more pieces on defense, and they have a good path going forward. So this is really, really huge for Chicago. Shout out to the Bears, shout out to the city, and this is something that they've been wanting for a long time. So kudos to the Bears.
Yeah, Rodney, for you watching this game, what were you thinking?
All I gotta say is 4 words: get LaFleur out of there.
Yeah,
because
thank you for that.
I think that's the biggest thing coming from the game.
We all did the same thing when you did that. We all went, get LaFleur out of there.
Yeah, that's 4. That's 4.
It just really boggles my mind that you blow this 21-3 lead when 90% of the time you're going to win this game when you're up 21-3. And to blow that lead, the offense just went down. The defense did not contain and keep their foot on the pedal against that Bears offense who was struggling in the first half. So it really just doesn't make sense how the Packers lost this game. And yeah, Matt LaFleur, I'm sorry, he's a good coach. He's a good offensive coach and whatnot. I think he should go because ever since Aaron Rodgers has ever since becoming a coach, if I'm not mistaken, ever since they lost in the conference championship against the Bucs in 2020, I may be wrong. They've only had 1 or 2 playoff wins in the last 5 years.
No, I believe that.
I know they beat the Cowboys in the first round when they were the 7th seed.
I remember that one.
Yeah, Rodney's a Cowboys fan. He's leaving.
He's the one that brought it up.
It was here in Arlington. I remember that game.
Yeah.
My take on the game is genuinely, and I'm not going to say much because Herb, you kind of shouted it out, and I'm going to shout it out now. Guys, you can go to my Patreon at Nick Beasley Wrestling and find all my articles. And I've got an article about Matt LaFleur and the Packers after that game. Completely free to read them. I'm not going to make you guys pay for any of it. If you want to support by paying, that is completely up to you guys. That is not something I'm going to make anybody do. My thing was this. You're 0-5 in your last 5 games. You lose out after losing Michael Parsons. That's a problem. And I know Jordan Love got hurt, but you cannot go 0-5 in your last 5. You can't do it. You lose. You get blown out by the Ravens. I mean, the fact that Jeff Halfley is getting looks to be a head coach, and they went 0-5 without Micah, I feel like Micah should get looks to be the head coach because he was the reason that defense was elite. Clearly not Jeff Halfley, because after he got hurt, Halfley forgot to coach. But Matt LaFleur, 0-3 in his last 3 playoff appearances. They've lost 3 straight playoff games, back-to-back wild card years. They lost to the 49ers in the divisional round after beating the Cowboys the first time Jordan Love got there. But that's a problem. You cannot be 0-3 in the playoffs and then expect to get an extension. They're saying they're trying to work out a deal. If I was them, I'd say, look, we're going to keep you on the 1 year. And if you show us something next year, if you get us to the NFC Championship game or you get us to the Super Bowl, we'll keep you. Otherwise, you're just going to go as a free agent. That's what I would do. They're saying Matt LaFleur would be a highly sought after head coach in the portal or in the carousel anyway. Okay. Go see how many teams are going to go John Harbaugh. Heck, I don't think LaFleur gets hired over McDaniel because there's nothing creative about LaFleur. His offense is generic, and it shows, and it's worse in the second half. To be held to 6 points and them not come to the fourth quarter and it's 2 field goals is ridiculous. In a playoff game where you ended the half up 21-3. That is coaching malpractice. That is not making adjustments.
Yep.
So if you're asking me, he's got to be fired.
Yeah. Sometimes those guys do better though as just a straight coordinator than the head coach. So
Yeah.
You
Well,
see
he
a
was
lot
a coordinator
of
in Tennessee.
you see a lot of that on the defensive side though. Like Saleh, I mean, although it was the Jets, but he's making his hay right now as a coordinator in defense. But I do agree it's time as a head coach for him to be gone. Like this is just it's not working.
Unless you're, a Kyle Shanahan for obvious reasons. A lot of, offensive coordinators are not good as head coaches. Unless you're Kyle Shanahan or even though it's his first year, Ben Johnson.
Yeah. All right, next game we're going to get into, guys, is Rams and Panthers. I loved this game. I thought
that was my favorite game.
I hate it for Bryce.
That was my favorite game.
Same
that
here.
was my favorite one. That was my favorite one.
Everybody was saying Panthers going to get blown out. Rams are going to. Bryce earned his money. And for everybody saying that he's too short for the NFL, respectfully, shut up. Because I watched that guy ball at Alabama. Then I watched him get drafted by the Panthers. I felt horrible when he was drafted by the Panthers. Because I'm like, really? That's where we got to go? You got to go to Carolina? I am so sorry. They finally gave him
and they traded for him.
One.
They traded for him,
gave
too.
wide receiver one. Dave Canales is a good coach.
That's what Herb and I were talking about.
So, Bryce Young, you're the guy in Carolina. You've got
Yes. Yes.
If they move on from him, they're stupid.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Herb,
they
go ahead with
they
your
did say
thoughts on
today
it.
that they were picking up his 5th year, which kind of seems
Yes.
like a no-brainer, especially at the money. I will say this: I get where they think he's got some more to prove,
I
but
think they extend him.
the defense has played better. The running game has come on. But I think that what they're finally seeing is like, look, when they did the trade to get him, they traded away his best receiver. And then it's like they took 2 or 3 years to get him a number 1 wide receiver. And now they're saying, hey, we got a young quarterback and we got a number 1 wide receiver and he's playing better. And our receiver might be the offensive rookie of the year. It's like, it's funny how all of these things work out. Get your guy a target that he can throw to. And then look, Coker has been playing great too as an underrated. And sometimes some of these guys just need, Leggett, look, he's never great at catching. There was just a lot of drops last year, But sometimes what a lot of these guys need is your hierarchy. Like there's nothing wrong with being the number 2 or the number 3 wide receiver as long as you clearly know who the number 1 is. T. Higgins is getting paid really well to be like a number 2, right? I'm always a Jordan and Pippen guy. Pippen was great as a number 2. There's no shame in it. But every young quarterback, needs a good line and needs a number 1 wide receiver. And so, man, I didn't realize how much I was rooting for the Panthers until they lost. And I was just like, when they had that go-ahead touchdown, I was like, defense, please just hold on.
Yeah.
And, look, you're playing, the best offense in the league and the Rams and Stafford and possible MVP. Kudos to them for winning it, but I was all in on the Panthers. I was upset. And I'm surprised. I mean, I guess I see why the line was that big. But the Panthers beat the Rams once this year already. You know what I mean? It wasn't like they got smoked in the first game. So I'm just surprised it wasn't expected to be a closer game.
Raj, for you, what was your thoughts on the game?
Yeah, well, first of all, I didn't realize Herb was going to talk that much and take a lot of my thoughts, so it's kind of hard to kind of sum up everything.
So from up here, I can see Raj's notes, so I usually just read off his paper.
Oh, okay. That's how you do it.
That's how I look smart.
Like,
I'm
wait a minute.
okay.
Can I see? Hold on, I can't see Raj's notes, man.
Raj is really smart.
Herb and I talked about the game after the game, and the one thing that I hit it on was like, look what happens when you get that number 1 receiver that actually works, because they thought Xavier Leggett was going to be the guy, but I think we can all agree that Xavier Leggett can let go.
Oh my God! How long were you waiting for that one?
Yes.
Oh Lord.
Okay, no, but They got Ted McMillan. They got Ted McMillan from Arizona. He proved to be one of the better receivers in the NFL right now. Probably going to win Offensive Rookie of the Year. And same point I made about Caleb Williams. Bryce Young has proven that he is your quarterback going forward. He does have the size issue, but that's never going to change. As long as you get him some weapons to protect up front, he's going to be your guy. He's very cerebral, very, very smart passer. Whenever he scrambles, he doesn't take a lot of hits. Very, very wise. Really, really good decision maker. He can hit his targets. He's your guy going forward. Keep him, build around him. Get some better defender players. I like the running back, Dowdle and Chuba Hubbard. I like the little combo they got going on. Carolina's got a good team. It was heartbreaking to see this because a lot of us wanted to see Bryce win, especially being Alabama guys. But I think he'll get a playoff win somewhere in the near future. So kudos to the Panthers. Came up a little short this year, but it's only Bryce's third year. They're in good hands.
Yeah. Rodney, for you, what did you think watching this game?
I was one of those guys that thought it was going to be a underdog story. I myself went for the Panthers in that game. I told everyone around me, my coworkers, my barber, and everyone that I'm going for the Panthers. Is because the Panthers did beat the Rams earlier this season, and I just felt like the Panthers could shock the world in this game, and they did came very close in that game. And just like what you guys said, you got your two-headed running backs with Chuba Hubbard and Rico Dotto. Like you said, you got the potential Offensive Rookie of the Year in McMillan. Xavier Legette, if he doesn't get better, he needs to get the hell out of here. But also, you got
see what you've done, Raj. Do you see what you've done? This is all your fault.
My bad. Rodney tried.
Hey, let him go to Vegas. That'll be a funny story.
But you also got Coker, who is probably going to be your number 2 next year. Now, what the Panthers need to do going into this upcoming draft and also free agency as well, look after your offensive line. There was a key injury in that game from their offensive line, so you're definitely going to want to look into the offensive line going into this draft and free agency. Also, bring some other defensive help on the team. Maybe get someone in the secondary to pair with J.C. Horn, possibly. Maybe you could bring some linebacker help. So I think if you put in some more pieces, they're going to be competitive with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for this NFC South division.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say is, and it's a small gripe, but it is a gripe. I know he's a rookie, but Horton, you got to catch that ball. I know it was kind of behind you, but your hands touched it. You got to catch that ball. At the very least, you got to try to bring it into your hip.
At the end? Oh yeah. No, it don't even care where that one is. It hits both hands. You got to catch, especially given the situation. You got to give yourselves a chance. So for sure, I agree.
Last game we'll talk about because the other ones I don't
sucked.
care to talk about.
They sucked.
Philadelphia.
Can I please start? Can I please start this? I really got something to say. I'm going to make it quick.
Bring it on.
Make it quick, but yeah, go ahead. We'll go in
rotation. AJ Brown.
Oh my God.
AJ Brown. You
what?
Raj puts headphones in. So does Herb. I'm pretty sure.
Not once, not twice, but 3 times. AJ Brown. You dropped the ball 3 times after you was crying and whining about not getting the ball. You argued with Nick Sirianni. You dropped the ball 3 times. You need to get the heck out of Philly. You need to be cut. You need to be traded. You need to be sent away in a U-Haul. AJ Brown, I'm sorry. You are a cancer to the Eagles. With all those drops. Okay. Jalen Hurts, you're not that special. You are not the guy that everyone says that you are just because you got a Super Bowl MVP. I said it. And Nick Sirianni. I don't know why
Jalen catching a stray here.
And Nick Sirianni, you're not that guy, pal. You're not that guy. The only reason why you got that Super Bowl, is because of 2 things. 1, you had Saquon Barkley having arguably the best season of a running back ever, possibly. And 2, Vic Fangio as your defensive coordinator. So Nick Sirianni, they won that Super Bowl in spite of you last year. So maybe you could talk about Nick Sirianni potentially being fired as well.
Now Jalen Hurts played well in the Super Bowl, so you
I was
can't
about
do
to say.
that. He had 2 Super Bowls against.
They just won a Super Bowl, and now you're trying to fire the
Mahomes.
coach.
He also played well
and
in
he
the
outplayed
game
him in both.
Sunday.
So you can't say that for the rest of it. The rest of it, what I'll jump on is Philadelphia reminds me sometimes of Baltimore, who's built a great line and went and got a great running back. And then sometimes it's like just to placate A.J. Brown. It's like we're going to come out and throw the ball all over the yard. And I'm like, no, you got – shut up, Rod. I saw his eye.
That was in his word of the day calendar. He had to get
It was.
But it's just a bad look. But no, I'll say this. He played well in the Super Bowls. But in the rest of the season, Philly should be a running team, and sometimes they forget that. But I was not at all surprised that Philly lost this game because they just seemed like the Philly from a couple years ago that was like, we're winning the division just because the division's not good.
Yeah.
But we're never settled. We're fighting after every game. We fired our offensive coordinator like 2 days after the loss. Like they just they seem like they meet up before the game and get introduced to each other and go in, and nobody practices together, nobody plays together. And I'm not going to reiterate everything that you said, but the AJ Brown stuff was perfect. I said I was working with a Philly fan today who's also kind of likes AJ Brown. First thing I was like, yeah, he got to go. If the AJ Brown fans aren't defending you can't, like you said, make it short. You cannot complain and then drop the ball. Like that's just, especially in a playoff game. That's just it. But Philly looked dysfunctional all year. Yeah. So they look dysfunctional all year. I'm not surprised to see them go. And then shout out to the NFC West because what was it last year? The NFC North had a great regular season and everybody fell flat. And it looks like the NFC West is trying to do the exact opposite in this playoff. So kudos to them.
Three out of the
49ers.
In this divisional round, 3 out of the 4 teams in the NFC West is representing the playoffs. The Seahawks, the Rams, and the 49ers.
Yep, the Seahawks have the bye, so you're going to lose one of them next week. But still, that's a great accomplishment for that.
I think you lose the Niners just because of health.
I think
and that's the other thing. As banged up as the Niners are, and then they lose Kittle in the middle, and the Eagles, you still can't win that game. That's awful.
Yeah.
I got Bears and Seahawks. I got Bears and Seahawks in the conference championship. Bears and Seahawks.
The only Rams.
Yeah, Seahawks and Rams. Yep.
Because here's the thing. Unlike the Packers, Sean McVay knows how to put his foot down on the gas when they're ahead.
Yeah. True.
Especially if Puka Nacua has another monster game.
Yeah.
True.
I was a little upset at what I saw from Philly as far as the offense, but it's funny saying upset because it's the same thing that I've pretty much seen for the majority of the season this year. I always feel like they have the necessary weapons to kind of get over that. They're averaging 22 points per game, I think, during the regular season, but they have the weapons to kind of get up around 30, but they just don't seem to do it. Well, of course, I love Jalen Hurts, him being an Alabama guy, but sometimes I question whether or not does he just deter from going downfield or the receivers cover it that much? And I just think he just doesn't like going downfield as much. AJ Brown, the whole AJ Brown situation. Yeah, if you're an AJ Brown, you don't want to be there. You've pretty much shown your frustration throughout the season. We all know you don't want to be there despite what you may say in front of the cameras because you're always going to say what you're professionally supposed to say. But obviously he needs to go. I think the question is if they get another receiver in, will the new receiver suffer the same type of frustrations that AJ Brown is suffering because they're just not doing that. I mean, they're not scoring enough points. Again, Kittle went down and they just couldn't get over the hump. I love the Philly defense. I have no problems with Fangio and them, but their offense is just disturbing to watch sometimes.
Yeah. I wrote an article about it. You guys can go read it on my Patreon about the situation. Look, I put the whole thing on Kevin Petula and AJ Brown. And the reason I did that was because as soon as AJ started publicly complaining to the media about not getting the ball, the whole offense changed. And in every game where they force-fed the ball to AJ, they lost those games. In every game where they tried to, I'm going to steal Herb's word, placate, to AJ and give him his numbers, he didn't deliver, and they lost. And look, I know it's tough, like moving on from a superstar receiver, but if he doesn't want to be there, it's bad for the culture.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jalen Hurts said today or yesterday, at the end of the year, like the media coming in and talking to the players at the end of the year, like, hey, about AJ getting traded. Look, I'm gonna trust Nick and the staff and Howie and Jeff and those guys on that. He said him and AJ have talked and they're good, but we heard that from Tua with Tyreek in the offseason, and we saw what the season was. So
it's over. He's got the money. He's got the Super Bowl ring. There's really nothing else.
He got a Super Bowl ring. Yep.
Yep. There's nothing. Nothing else he can do in Philly. There's nothing else.
Let's move on to the next topic, which I am very excited to talk about. The NFL coaching carousel, and I'm going to pull this up, guys, so we can see all the teams that are currently without a head coach. This does include mine and Rogers Dolphins. Okay, first of all, y'all should be without an owner. We've got the Cardinals, the Falcons, the Ravens, the Browns, Raiders, Dolphins, Steelers, Giants, and Titans. Herb, for you, what team on here is the most surprising? And then what team on here do you think is the most, best case scenario for any coach, new or returning coach?
There's not a lot of surprises. I guess the Ravens is the one everyone will say, but it was just like Tomlin for that one. We've been talking about for a while. Harbaugh is just he's just coached them out of a lot of wins instead of coaching them into wins lately with Baltimore. So that's I would think if you wanted to try to get in a team and win like next year, Baltimore is a great team to take over.
Yeah.
But you got to realize in a year or two down the line, there's going to be a lot of changes. So you need to hurry up and win now with that. Yeah. And then, Nick, this from listening in the morning. Bo is high on the Giants situation. It depends on if you believe in Jackson Dart or not. But I'm sorry, Rod. I can see your paper from up here, man. I'm sorry. You should.
No, you're good.
Herb is stealing Rod's stuff and crediting Bo. I get it now. That's how Herb feels good.
I just got to give Bo his credit. Just because you believe in Jackson Dart and you believe that's a winnable division, then the defense is starting to play better. Then you realize you can go after. I'm only gonna take those two, so everybody's got some stuff left. But those are the top two names that jump out. Sorry, Rod. I love you, bro.
No, you're good. You're good. What I was going to say about the Giants is you have your starting quarterback, and if Malik Neighbors can return to form, you've got the star wide receiver one right there. Just build up the defense a little bit, and then depending on how the Cowboys do next year and the Commanders, you could possibly vie for that number 2 spot.
Better.
I mean, because the NFC East might be up in the air. We don't know how good Philly's going to be. We don't know how good Dallas is going to be. We don't know what Washington is going to be when Jane Daniels comes back. So I think the obvious one is the one Herb mentioned is just like, if you take over the Ravens position, again, you have your starting quarterback, your Pro Bowl quarterback, Lamar Jackson, and then you've got Derrick Henry, who's one of the best running backs in the league. So you're good there. Defense is going to be stout, so you're fine. Out of all the positions I wouldn't want to take, I would probably the Titans just look like, I don't know if they have anything going right with them right now. Cam Ward had a pretty disastrous first year. But, I mean, a lot of first-year quarterbacks don't really have a great year. So, other than that, I mean, my Dolphins are sitting there. I would love for us to get Harbaugh as a coach.
Where's the love, Cat? Where's the love?
You are the best.
I would love of Miami to get Harbaugh in as a coach. The question is, who's going to be the starting quarterback? Is it going to be Quinn Ewers? Does he have some good enough weapons around him? I think would you have A-Chain in there? A-Chain is the one certified Pro Bowl guy we've got on that team right now. I like the few snaps that I saw from Darren Waller, but I don't know if he's going to be able to duplicate that next year. Jade, I love Waddle, but Waddle's been hurt pretty much every single year he's been in the league. Every single year. But no, I like the Giants. Tyreek's going to be gone. Yeah, so overall, I like the Giants and I like the Ravens. The Dolphins can be appealing if they get some more pieces.
Yeah. Rodney, for you?
Well, obviously, Baltimore is going to be the most surprising, obviously, because even though it felt like the time was up, It was surprising how it went, but I will actually go against you guys. I do not think Baltimore is the best option because the problem is, if you look at the Baltimore Ravens next year, their cap space is going to take a big hit because of one person and one person only, and that's obviously Lamar Jackson.
They'll restructure his deal.
So he's going to be hit for $74 million. $74.9 million. I looked it up, $74.9 million next year. So they're going to have to either sign him a new deal that will spread or restructure his contract. But if Lamar does not want to restructure, they're going to have to trade him. So because of that reason and that reason only, I don't think the Ravens are going to be the best spot. I will actually surprise you guys. From what I saw with the team and the offense that they have, besides the quarterback situation, I think the best option is going to be the Falcons. Actually,
don't you do it?
Because here's the thing: you got one of the top five running backs in the league with Bijan Robinson. I love and respect Bijan's game. You got a solid number one receiver in Drake London. You have a solid when he wants to tight end in Kyle Pitts. You have some ballers on the defense. If you could bring some more pieces on the defense, bring in a little more help on the offensive line. The only problem that you have is the quarterback situation because Kirk Cousins is going to be a free agent because they restructured his contract to where he's probably going to get cut in March. And then secondly, we don't know how Michael Penix is going to be coming off of another ACL injury from when he suffered in college. So we don't know how that's going to happen. But besides that, if you bring in a valuable, reliable backup, I think the best place is going to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I say the only reason why I didn't throw them out because I think if you're a guy like Harbaugh, you're not going to be in a rebuild situation, and I think for him, he wants to go to a place where the quarterback situation is solved already. So that's the only reason why I didn't put the Falcons. Because I agree with everything else. Like they have invested a lot in the offense over the years. It should be much better, and probably one of the most winnable divisions.
Yeah.
For me, the most surprising. Other than the Dolphins, because I really thought McDaniel would get another year to see what he could do with Quinn. And like I didn't want him fired. I was like, if we all want to bring in Harbaugh, cool. Mike McDaniel run the offense. Like just be the OC, let Harbaugh be the head coach, and just stay in Miami. Because I do like his offense, and I think he used Achane very well.
Yeah.
For me though, the most sought after job. I mean, the obvious ones are the Ravens, right? The Ravens, the obvious. I think the Falcons are obvious if they get a quarterback in there.
Yeah.
Because of the roster. I'm actually going to go completely away from everything you guys said. As much as I love the Giants, I love Jackson Dart, but I think the Browns, they've got an elite defense.
Really?
They have an elite defense. I think they've got decent weapons. They've got their running back for the future and Junkins when he's back. Yeah. And they do have Dylan Sampson, who, say what you want about him, he's a good running back. I saw it first. We all saw it firsthand at Tennessee. He could be a good running back. I don't think Shador's your starter. I don't think Dylan Gabriel is your starter. I think you got to draft one.
That's another
reason.
That's
the reason I didn't.
Yeah,
your fifth round pick should never be getting more pub than your third round pick. So they have totally messed up that whole situation already.
Yeah,
and their skill positions, like at wide receiver, is bad too. Sorry, Rodney. Go.
Oh, and then the problem is, I don't even know if they're going to be able to draft a quarterback because you're still owed that money to Deshaun Watson. Even if he gets cut, you're still owed that money to Deshaun Watson. So we don't know how the cap situation is going to be.
But they do not need to draft another. You drafted 2 quarterbacks this year. You cannot draft another quarterback.
Okay, maybe
you don't know if Alex
work with them.
Draft a receiver. I would draft a receiver. I would draft a receiver before I draft another quarterback.
Yeah,
I would draft a receiver because Jerry Jeudy is not the guy.
Yeah. Maybe sign Malik Willis in free agency if you get the right offensive line in there, because he's a good backup, and I think he'll be able to command backup money but be a starter. Maybe go grab Mac Jones and see what you can do if you got the right coach in there. I feel like the Browns, and also with the Browns ownership, look at how long they kept Stefanski.
Yep.
They're gonna give whoever they get a chance because they know they screwed this up with Deshaun. They know it's a mess because of what they did with Deshaun. So you're secure for at least 3 years, maybe 4. And I think you get the right quarterback in there. And they're going to cut Deshaun. They're going to do what the Broncos did. Cut Deshaun and send him packing. But that's my thoughts on it, guys. I want to thank Herb and Rodg both for joining. I want to thank Rodney for last minute joining. I literally called him an hour before the show and was like, hey, can you join?
Appreciate you, Rodney.
Thank you guys to everybody in the chat. Sorry we couldn't show everybody's chats. We were just trying to get through stuff and it was flowing. So thank you to everybody who showed up and watched tonight. Make sure to go check out my Patreon at Nick Beasley Wrestling. Daily articles, completely free to join as a free subscriber. There is a paid option, but you guys don't have to do that. But it is completely free. Herb, Raj, tell everybody where they can find y'all and what y'all got coming out this week.
Yep.
Go ahead, Mr. Chatterbox.
Oh, the pain. The pain.
Oh, no.
We're going to be live tomorrow night on our channel, 8 p.m. Central Time, covering a little transfer portal and college football playoff stuff. And then come join us Saturday night, 8 or 8:30, because Bama plays early on. Basketball plays early, right? But
what, Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday. So we'll be on around 8 or 8. Yeah, I think we play like noon or something like that. For our Unhinged show. And then we've just got some videos and stuff coming out, some shorts coming out. So just keep up with us there. So
yeah, we'll probably talk a little bit about the national championship game on the 19th. We'll probably get into that either tomorrow or Saturday. We'll kind of give our opinion on that. Yeah, I think that's it.
And Herb, you didn't say it, so I'm going to plug it for you. Tomorrow morning at 8 a.m., Herb is going to wake everybody up and make them watch him and Bo, which, by the way, great show.
Yes.
Love the show.
Yes.
Thank you.
So make sure to check that out, guys. So again, look, 8 a.m., he'll be calling people, hey, man, join the show. So
8 a.m. I can't call you because I'm still barely waking up at that point for the show.
I know,
I won't plug
show.
everybody, but I do appreciate the plug, Nick. Hopefully you come check us out. So.
Yeah. Rodney, tell everybody what you've got going on and where they can find you and what you got coming out possibly.
So I'm going to be sooner or later, I'm going to be posting more videos, like I said, involving basketball content since sadly the football season is ending in a few weeks. I am going to post more stuff on my TikTok, YouTube, RJK Forever 4. Follow me on my Instagram, RJK_Forever 2. I'm going to also trying to make some moves outside of social media and, hopefully tune in to me and everybody here on the show, Herb, Raj, and Nick Beasley.
All right, guys. Thank y'all again for commenting, coming in, and being part of the chat.
Sure.
Herb, glad you stayed clean, hydrated tonight. Can't wait for Saturday. Saturday's a fun show.
Before. Nobody knows what it is.
I know it.
Yeah, Saturday's a fun show, though, man. Raj, thank you for joining as always. Herb, thank you for joining.
Having us.
No, appreciate it.
Rodney, thank you for joining. I will get with you, Rodney, about some stuff at a later date. Love everybody that commented. Kat, obviously I see Herb commented a lot in his own chat. J-Bank, thank you. Or J-Bank, my bad. I keep saying J-Bank, not J-Bank. My bad. It's been a long day. It's been a long day. Tomlin walked away. It was crazy. But yeah, guys, thank y'all for watching. Again, make sure to, if you're not already, subscribe to the Herb N Rodg Podcast. Subscribe to Rodney's YouTube channel as well. I believe it's RJK Forever 4 or something like that. Yeah. And then, guys, of course, the Nick Beasley Show. I'll be doing more lives. I plan to go live this weekend during some of the games. If not during them, definitely after the Sunday night game. I will go live and recap the divisional round. Again, guys, thank y'all for joining. kind of a last minute thing, but I appreciate you guys making the time for it. Love y'all. Thank y'all. And see you on the next stream.